Okay, we are going to experiment with some 1-point perspective. So in order to do that, we need a horizon line. So hopefully you have a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, you just use a straight edge of something. You could use a piece of paper. And we're going to make a horizon line. Okay, you're going to need a pencil and a pen. So have those handy. All right, so our horizon line, that's either where the land meets the sky, if we're outside, or it's where our eye level is. If we're standing on top of a chair, our eye level is different than if we are seated on the floor. So we need a vanishing point. So let's choose a point in the middle on the horizon line. That is where all the receding parallel lines are going to go. So all the lines that should be parallel, but because depth makes them look like they're coming together, we're going to aim them for that point. Now, it might be helpful. You're going to draw some squares. Now, if you want to draw some squares, you can freehand them. Normally, I would do this activity on grid paper, so we have the grid lines to help us. So we don't have that now. So let's. So maybe you want something to trace. We're going to put 2 squares above the horizon line, 2 on the horizon line, and 2 below the horizon line. We want to keep the space in the middle clear, so don't put one right there. Put it over to the side. Don't put one right in the middle. Don't put one right in the middle. Well, I guess you could do that one. All right, but we're going to put them around our paper. So I'm going to do it in pencil first. Try to get it to be parallel to the horizon line. Okay. Don't put it on there like that. Try to get it, parallel to the horizon line. So 2 above, 2 on. So I'm going to put one, maybe one far and one close. I'm going to put one here. And then one way over to the corner. All right, so we have 2 squares above the horizon line, 2 on and 2 below. Okay, so we know that a cube, a rectangular prism, should have 6 sides, but we are not going to see through this. It's not going to be transparent like this. We're going to think of something that we can't see through. So we're going to start with the ones above the horizon line. With that last video I showed you, we said that you would see up to 3 sides of a cube that were above the horizon line. So you might see 2 or you might see 3, but you're not going to see more than that or less than 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our ruler and we're going to aim from the corner of one square to the vanishing point. Guys, I have students all the time that do stuff like this. That ruler is not aimed to the vanishing point. It's aimed over here. We need to make sure it's lined up perfectly with the corner of one square and the vanishing point, and then draw a light line. Now we're going to repeat this step for this corner and this corner. We're going to line it up. Make sure it goes directly to that dot, not near the dot. Near the dot's not good enough. It has to be exactly on the vanishing point. And then the third one. Okay. All of them are going exactly to the vanishing point, not around the vanishing point. One line over here, one line over here, one line over here. Exactly on the vanishing point. Now, if we were going to see through it, we would do from this corner to the vanishing point as well, but we don't want to see through it, okay? So let's do the same thing for this one over here. Remember, we're going to see up to 3 sides, 2 or 3. Whoops, I did a bad, look at that. That line is near the vanishing point, but I need it to be exactly on the vanishing point. So let me erase and redraw that line. From the corner exactly to the vanishing point. Okay, now let's do the same thing for the two squares that are on the horizon line. Remember we said a rectangular prism on the horizon line, we would see one or two, I don't even have a corner there, one or two sides of that rectangular prism. So I only have to do these two, this one and this one. Okay, do the same thing here and here. Making sure it goes exactly to the vanishing point. Near is not good enough. It has to be exactly on the vanishing point. All right, and then the last one, when the squares are below our horizon line, below our eye level, we're going to see up to three sides, 2 or 3 sides. So I'm going to line these up. Now, if I try to line up this corner with this vanishing point, it is super skinny, and that's okay. That means I'm not seeing much of that side at all. Okay, that's because this square was closer to the center. If it had been over here, I would have seen more of that right side. But because it's very into the center, I'm not going to see much of that. All right, and then over here. And then the last one to the vanishing point. Okay, so most students, they don't have trouble with this. They get this, they understand this. And this is pretty cool. This looks like maybe, you know, we've got some rectangular prisms floating in space, or maybe it looks like we're hovering, we're flying over, and we're looking at some buildings that are going way, 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 way down to the ground. That's because it looks like these rectangular prisms go on forever. It's like they go on forever and we never see the end of them. There's lots of things around us that are rectangular prisms and cubes, but they don't go on forever. Imagine that this was a building and I'm flying around and I'm looking at the roof and the side and another side. Usually buildings aren't so long that I can't see the end of them. So that's where we're going to have to cut them off. Now, this is the confusing part for students. They don't understand this. Well, let's talk about what we might see right here. So I'm kind of looking like this one is kind of looking like this. I see the front, I see the side, I see the top. I see the front, I see the side, I see the top. But it's cut off. See, it doesn't go on forever. Now, the important thing to remember is that where we cut it off, this line is parallel to this line. And this line back here is parallel to this edge right here. They are parallel, which means they are perfectly the same distance apart from each other, and they will never cross each other. That means if I want to cut this off right here, this line has to be parallel like this line is. Even though this line isn't as long, if I continued these lines forever, they would never cross, okay? And then I need to turn and cut this off, but it has to be a line that's parallel with this, okay? So this line right here is parallel with this line right here. And then what I can do is put all of this in ink and erase everything else. And this is my rectangular prism, okay? So I don't need these. They were helpful to help me draw, but now I don't need them. And this is my rectangular prism. But let me show you what students do all the time. They don't understand parallel. They say they understand, but then they don't. They give me something that looks like this. Okay? This line is not parallel with this line. And this line is not parallel with this line. Okay, so that's not correct. Sometimes students are able to get one of those lines correct. Let's say they do this. Okay, and they're like, yep, that line's parallel with that. Okay, but then it's this side or something that they just can't get right. You have to pick a line that's parallel with the other side.